Welcome to MPUNGWE-PUNGWE YouTube channel. Subscribe for you to enjoy more of our videos anytime we upload.
I have two questions, Honorable Chair. Number one, what information were you provided with the three-member crew that had returned from Zuzu and landed at Kia to pick up the late Vice President and others? Second question, Honorable Chair, it's become apparent and clear that the MDF and MAF were very aware that the aircrafts, specifically the Donia, did not contain a black box as well as the ELT. It was not functioning. Was the Office of the President and the Office of the Vice President made aware of this condition of the Donia? Thank you.
Major General, you can address that.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable. The first question on the information from crew that flew from Zuzu to Kia, there was no information apart from indicating that they left Zuzu airport at 07:05 because he was reporting of 7 o'clock as he was going now to the aircraft. So we are talking of 7 o'clock, they left around 07:05. And that when they arrived at Kia, they just reported that they arrived safely and that they would refuel with 4 hours to be able to go to Mzuzu, come back to Kia, then Mzuzu again, and fly back to Chileka. That's the information that was given to us, and the number of passengers that was communicated to him for a flight to Mzuzu. That's the second question, Chair. The black box that has been mentioned is a flight data recorder. This component, much as we call it black box, is not black, it's orange in color. It is always carried at the back of the aircraft. Its function is to record all the flight data, that is engine parameters. For the fixed wing, we are talking of the throttle, the banking, and all that is displayed during the flight. Some of the flight recorders are also connected to the cockpit recording. That as it records the parameters of the flight, it also records all communications that are done in the ICSs. ICSs is internal communication system that the pilots use to talk to each other. And nobody else can hear that except the crew. So this component will record that communication on ICS. There's that communication. In some aircrafts, we have where the VIP sits, we have another telephone that the VIP is able to communicate to the crew. I'll give a very good example. One of the head of states used to say, he's just talking to the crew, nobody else listens. And it also has a system where if the head of states wants to come on a radio, he can communicate using that telephone. He can make an address while flying. We have that aircraft, one of the helicopters. And that particular aircraft has a flight recorder. It is there. It is one of the aircrafts that has a flight recorder because it's solely VIP with a table, the kitchen, and everything is there. So the black box in this particular donia was not part of the minimum equipment list. It was not there. It is not there. It is not a requirement for a military operated aircraft to be installed with this black box, so-called black box. Reason why is that these aircrafts are considered as state assets. Under the Geneva Convention, a Chicago Convention, it allows state aircrafts to be equipped with these components as they wish, as those states wish. Otherwise, it is not a mandatory requirement for operation of this particular aircraft, except for ICAO rules, IATA rules, where companies or airlines use aircrafts for passenger or commercial use. This one is a requirement. No airplane can fly without a flight recorder. It is not allowed. There are these rules that are given by ICAO and IATA. IATA is an organization that looks after passengers. ICAO is the civil aviation rules and regulations. So there are rules, Chicago, ICAO, and IATA. ICAO and IATA emphasizes on the installation of a flight data. Now for military, why we do not consider this as a requirement for us to operate is one, an ELT, as I said, it will only emit a signal at impact. Now, for security reasons, if, for example, we are in the field and we crash, a crash landing, that signal will go out and everybody will be able to pick it up. And we'll say, oh, now the enemy is at this place. And another thing is that that ELT, apart from the automatic position, it has a manual position and off position. On off position, that's where we put it because we did not need it. But on manual, you can take that component, it has an antenna. You pull out that antenna. If you are lost, for example, in case of Chikangawa, for example, if there was that component was working and there was a survivor, one would pick it up and start a meeting. We would do, for example, that's why I went straight to the base and be in the tower. We could pick up that signal and talk to that particular person. So you know our friend is at this place. Alas, this thing was not working. Our helicopters, all the helicopters, all the aircrafts, they are equipped with an ELT. A working ELT would not have any challenges locating where that crash has happened. We had the equipment, yes, but we couldn't do anything. I mean, it's very difficult to understand this. For security reasons, I wouldn't say we have so many aircrafts that are just standing there, but not serviceable. They may be airworthy, yes, but not serviceable. Airworthiness and serviceability are two different things. So, through you, Chair, I believe that I've answered the question from the Honorable.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, I wanted to know if the offices of the President and the Vice President were made aware that the ELT's battery was down, was not working, to allow them to be able to make informed decisions as to whether to procure the services of the Donia or not.
Thank you, Chair, through you, Honorable. Thank you for that question. As I said that this was in 2006 that this quotation was submitted. normally our belief is that the headquarters, our headquarters, is always in contact with the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Finance, Treasury, because they are the ones that give the money. So all these quotations normally, because they also need Forex. So we believe that these are not the only requirements that we submitted for support. Servicing of these aircrafts have been there for years. We've been crying for servicing of these aircrafts. I would request through you, Chair, we have in Parliament a Defense and Security Committee, right? A Committee of Defense and Security. I last saw them when I was a major in the Air Force coming to see the aircrafts. And the other time that we met in the Defense headquarters, I was trying to explain the need to have a helicopter. We were the first ones when there was flooding in Mozambique in 2000. Malawi was on the map. We were the first ones to arrive there with those aircrafts that are grounded for so long, for more than 10 years. We've been everywhere, but now we are seeking assistance from other people. We understand, yes, that we have challenges in Forex or whatever, but I don't know what to say, but it is important to take this as a requirement for the nation. It's a requirement for the nation. I also gave another example. This I was talking when even the SPC was around. I said, imagine that the head of state is sick and we have to take him to hospital. So we go out with our sirens, ambulance and whatever. The head of state? No. This was just to highlight a point, the need to have these aircrafts. Ambulance. You cannot do anything without ambulance. But here we are. So the office of the VP, in fact, the VP came, the late VP came to our base. I was base commander at that time. We gave him all the requirements. And what he said was, why don't you sell out all these aircrafts and buy new ones? So a bright idea, yes. But if you are failing to service your car, can you start budgeting for buying another car, a new one? I mean, that's the situation that we have been in for years. And here we are talking of. So to make the point clear, the ELT is not a requirement in the minimum equipment list for flying. The black box is not a requirement to make an aircraft airworthy or serviceable, because they don't contribute anything to a flight, except that you want to get information on the conditions of flight during an incident or accident. For the ELT, it is only when you are crashing that you need this equipment. We are not planning to crash. Through you, Chair, I think...
Major General, are you suggesting that the former Vice President knew that the Dornier 228 did not have an ELT, did not have the black box, when you've indicated that he came and inspected the base and advised you to dispose some of the platforms we have to buy new ones? Is that an insinuation that he knew?
Thank you, Chair. What I'm trying to say, he did not come to inspect the aircraft, but he came to visit. And in our presentation, as ministers come, he also came. This is what we showed him, looking at the enormous amount of money that was there. That was his suggestion, that I think we need to change these things. You're saying this has been grounded for 10 years, this one 14 years, this one 2 years. Why can't we just buy new equipment? Not necessarily that he came to inspect the serviceability or airworthiness of the aircraft, but it was one of the presentations that was given to him. Knowing whether the ELT is not functional or there is no black box, I mean, we wouldn't tell a passenger about that, because for that aircraft to conduct a mission, that's not a requirement, unless if you think that maybe today we will crash or something happens. But the whole government, I'm sure, is aware, even now, that these aircrafts, that's the status, that's the condition of the aircraft. And we've been crying for years. Thank you, Chair.
There's Sakasena, and then we come this side to Karabi North.
Chair, good afternoon or good evening. I want to engage the retired Major General, just to confirm on your presentation, period number 2, the order which was given on phone, is it through General? You're saying General Jaff or General Valentino?
Thank you, Honorable. For the ambulance, it was General Jaff. It was General Jaff.
All right. You had indicated that you had a phone call with a pilot in command around 1700 hours on June 2024. You called the pilot in command, late Colonel Owen Sambalopa, who had confirmed they will take off Kumzuzu Airport at 7 hours on 10th. Do you remember as to what time did you spoke to General Sambalopa on this day? And in that kind of conversation, when you're telling him the orders on the next day, did he indicate of any weather situation in Zuzu prior to 10th June, when he was talking to him in the evening of 9th June?
Thank you very much, Honorable. When I talked to him on 9th, when they landed at Kumzuzu, he told me that the flight to Kumzuzu was not, the weather en route to Kumzuzu was not clear. It was cloudy.
So, and then, thank you. On your page 3 of your presentation, at 7:48, 10 June 2024, aircraft landed at Kia. Colonel Sambalopa communicated to me, that's to you, 7:50 hours that they had landed at Kia. Prior to, on the 9th, he told you that when they're landing in Zuzu, the weather was not clear. When he landed at Kia, did you ask him or him tell you about the weather when he was coming that morning hours from Zuzu to Kia? Did he say anything, or did you ask him, having that you had in mind on the situation of the previous day?
Thank you, Honorable. Through you, Chair. When he communicated to me after landing at Kia, he indicated that Kumzuzu, that morning when they were leaving, it was cloudy, yes, but at least with some octas at certain levels. Octas is the Charlie Bravo, the rain cloud anyway. Now, I am a flight engineer as well. I know Kumzuzu. What he said is Kumzuzu, as usual, is cloudy. En route to Kia, in between, the clouds are building up. That's what he told me. We have clouds, yes, but knowing very well that I am talking to a very qualified pilot in command, and we have always flown to Mzuzu and back. We knew where to go. In most cases, if you look at the BFU report on the radar, you see that when they were going to Mzuzu, they used the lake. That's normally where we go, because it is always clear along the lake. Now, what happens is when we fly there, we arrive close to Mzuzu. We always focus on Ikwendeni. Is that called Ikwendeni? Then from there, you see an opening, and the road is our road mark. We look at the road, and now we know that once I take this road, I will arrive north of Mzuzu Airport. So Mzuzu, in months like this one, it's never clear. It's never clear. There's always cloud at certain levels.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that you have, in your response, you have referred to BFU reports, because that's where I was going. The BFU reports, which you have referred to, it says, it had mentioned that the flight was flying, at a certain point, the Donia was flying low, as low as 7,000 miles, is it? Instead of going up to 9,000 above, maybe to have a clear view. So you're saying you are the engineer, you have flown that Donia before. Do you have any idea why the flight was flying that low?
Thank you, Honorable. Through you, Chair. Actually, I'm a flight engineer on the helicopters, not on the Donia. However, from BFU report, I don't know whether we'll be talking on BFU report, but if you look at the BFU report, you will notice that when the crew submitted their flight plan, the flight plan requested to fly throughout at 9,000 feet. Why was 9,000 feet safer? Is because the level of your octaves, your level of your cloud is always below 9. That is one reason. The next reason is that radar, for clear radar to pick you, to be able to see you where you are, is around that level. Below that, up to 7,000 feet, below that, no radar can pick you. That's why when they arrived in Mzuzu, what happened is they were flying high and low, but always, most of the times, below 7,000 feet, which means no radar could pick them up. That is one. Two, they were in the mountains. That impedes the signal, radio signal, from the tower to you. So there are two issues that contributes to this challenge. One, the level of flight. Unfortunately, there was no first survivor. We have no survivor to ask them, why did you leave? You requested for 9, and you were given 9,000 to fly straight to Mzuzu. Why did you change to 1 to 7,000? And then why did you leave the course, arriving NASA, diverted about 3 nautical miles away from the point NASA? Why was this ABCD? Why these loops and whatever? I don't think, Chair.
Okay, Chair, I have 2 more questions. The last one, before I go to the last one.
Sorry. Just on your question.
Yes.
On your question, I want to weigh in on your question. So you are a flight engineer. What do you make of these irregular flight maneuverings that were happening after it had crossed, is it Kasungu, NASA Point? What you, as an engineer, apart from the attitude, yes, we understand, you have explained, but these maneuverings, going in circles, in loops, what do you make of this? what would be your views?
Thank you, Chair. Unfortunately, I may not be able to, because that's where the whole issue is. That's where things started to go wrong. And that's where the investigation has to zero in. That's the whole issue. The diversion, the attitudes, the loops, and all that. If we sit down and try to analyze all that, we will definitely come to kind of an understanding of what may have been happening. This would be hypothesis anyway. But I believe that at the end of all this, we may come to an understanding of what was happening to the crew, to the aircraft, to the weather. That's the issue that we need to be focusing on. And I believe that the committee will have certain arrangements to go into the BFU report. I have the report. I was a member of that investigation. I may have my own understanding, but I don't know whether it will be necessary to discuss that at this point.
Thank you. So I give back the floor to Desakasina to wind up. If anybody has a follow-up questions, let's ask those after Desakasina has exhausted his questions.
Thank you so much, Chair. Page 5 of your presentation, 11 June 2024. You were saying at 300 hours, the Air Force search and rescue team departed Lilongwe for Chikangawa. I want to understand this 300 hours. Is it 3 a.m. of 11? So the search, you went there at 3 a.m. What was happening before that?
They landed at Kia last night around 6. Now, these are people who are flying from Zomba to arrive at Kia. We had to go pick them up. We had to have our own briefing because in the military, we always work on orders and briefings. You are here in Lilongwe. Yes, they would ask, why are we here? What's our mission? So they came to the base now. We had a briefing looking at what has transpired so far. We are looking at the 20 nautical miles, 37 kilometers north of Kumzuzu to understand exactly. Because at one point you would see that people are concentrating in Chikangawa. Why Chikangawa are not 37 kilometers north of Kumzuzu? It's because there was communication that one of the towers had picked a signal of a cell phone. Now that's the point when we said, 37 north is not this south, Chikangawa is south. So we had to turn to Chikangawa now and start. All that information was supposed to be given to these guys who are coming from Zomba to marry up with the crew, technicians and engineers from Lilongwe, and to drive now to. So we had to find fuel for that. Where would they go? It's called in Chikangawa, Akagona Kuti. So we had to source a place where to go, transport, fuel, and even food, because we knew that would take time. Now, to do all that logistics, it took us some time, and the only time to leave was 3 a.m.
I want to take you, Chair. The last where I'm concentrating my question is Annex 5. You have submitted Annex 5. Are you there?
I am there.
All right. During this is I think, is it a quotation? Is a quotation for Donia 228/208K. dated 1 September 2006. And I think the one who was receiving it was a commander of Malawi Defense Force. This time we were in the you were at the air wing.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Chair. Yes, I was still in the Air Wing. Actually, in the Air Force, I joined the Air Force in 1980. I started working as an engineer in 1984. So all this time I was there. I have worked with General Mark Chiziko, with all the rest of the commanders that have served the MDF. But I was a young officer then.
So this quotation, which the MDF sourced, it was addressed to which commander? Who was the commander in that time, and who was the commander-in-chief?
General Chiziko was the commander that time, and 2006, you may wish to remind me, the commander-in-chief that time. Okay, it must be. You may wish to remind me.
2006 was the president. Was it the late Bingo Mtalika?
2006, probably, yes.
And who was the commanding officer at the air wing?
It's General Mtende.
And on page 507, there's I've marked there. There's retrofit of 18 parameter flight data recorder. There's a price at the end. There was the cockpit voice recorder. There's the transponder and the 406 megahertz ELT, according to SB 228/256. Can you confirm these are the some of these are the batteries of which you have said they expired 2004?
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Chair. These are some of the retrofit operations or actions to be done on this aircraft. And this is a proposal for quotation, that if at that time we accepted these things, this aircraft would have been equipped with these that we have read.
And can you confirm the total price at that time?
The total price was 1,282,980.65 euros at that time.
So this annex, this quotation you have presented is 2006. From 2006 to 2024, let's say 2024, have there had any other quotation which your office, like commanding office based at Air Wing, you have also tried, or you are working on the same, based on this same quotation?
Thank you, Honorable. This was just, I took hold of this just to show to the committee that this thing was not part of the, or was a component that was not working from this time that we have been, the first quotation was submitted. All along every year there have been requests for quotations, and I think now they have just said, no, I think we are no longer going to give you quotations. 2006 to date, I mean, even if it was my shop, I would say, no, please, save my...
Chair, I think that's all from the Legacy.
We have Kadabe North, then we go to Mwanza Central, then Molanj, and then Lilongwe Mudi.
Chair, thank you very much for giving people Kadabe North to ask some questions. Major, I just have two questions. On bullet number 10, aircraft information. You said it had no known historical background of serious failure. Are you there? On your representation. So my question comes, can you provide the logbook of the said donor, the logbook that shows maintenance progress, maintenance report of the logbook? Is it there or not? Secondly, I was coming to as an engineer, aircraft engineer. You introduced it to us that you are an aircraft engineer, but not for the said donor, but for the helicopter. On the list of Annex 5, I see there's a lot of things which is needed here, which was supposed to be bought and fixed in the airplane. And then the same airplane is calling VVIP. So as an engineer, were you on the position to allow VVIP to board this plane? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Chair. I will start with the second part of your question, Honorable. That would it be right to allow this aircraft to fly with these items that have been mentioned? I would say that if you look at page 5 of 7 on top, it is 7 Ops 1 and avionic upgrade. This was an upgrade that we are talking about. With the example that I gave you, if your car, for example, you want your car to have cruise system, to be able to just push something and then your car goes. That's an upgrade. Upgrade from a certain level to another level. It doesn't mean that these were on a minimum requirement list. I emphasize minimum requirement list. Minimum requirement list are items that are required on the aircraft that would allow you to be able to fly. But upgrades, automatic pilot, if you want your aircraft to have an aircraft to have automatic pilot, you want it to have a voice recorder, you want to have that is what they are proposing, that we have this on the market. We can do this for you. This will cost you so much. It was up to us to say, please come and do this job, or not. So lack of these could not stop an aircraft from flying, because the minimum equipment list determines the airworthiness of the aircraft. If you are to determine, I'm also quality control, I'm inspector. If we are to qualify an aircraft for airworthiness, we take the minimum equipment list and compare with what we have, and also the maintenance that is being done. So airworthiness goes. This was to be an upgrade of existing systems on the minimum equipment list. On the first question, the logbooks. The books that are normally that are used on the aircraft, we have the flight logbook and we have the technical logbook. The technical logbook is always available at the base. We can always make it available because it is a very important document that you may wish to see as well, that at this particular day, engine oil was checked, it was okay, hydraulics, and all those. They are ticked and signed by the inspector. So that document is available at Zomba Air Base. in the technical department. I believe that those that will be coming here will bring that and will make sure that they bring that document, the technical logbook. As for the aircraft flying logbook, that one is always in the aircraft. It was destroyed with other documents that are supposed to be in the aircraft.
So I believe we have a session with the base commander soon after engaging General. We will pursue this question further with the base commander when he comes on the technical logbook. Thank you. We move on to the next one, Mwanza Central.
Thank you very much, Chair. Some of the issues that I wanted to seek clarification from Major General have already been asked. I think the issue of whether the pilots communicated that they could not fly because weather was bad. I think that has already been done. But my interest now, Chair, is on what he said in passing, the issue of the BFU report. Can I suggest, Chair, that we invite Major General Ishmael specifically to look at the BFU report, a session just to look at the report, because when you ask about the routes and the descending, ascending, he said that's something that we need to look at. Probably that's where we can establish something. I think it is important that we have a session with Major General Ishmael on the BFU report, since he was also part of the consultants, in that team. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We are moving on to phase 2 after phase 1. Phase 1 of evidence gathering is pre-flight, planning and authorization. Phase 2 is the actual flight itself. So we'll call upon suitable witnesses to come and testify. I have no doubt that the General Ismail will also be called, since he's an engineer. He can also help us answer some of the questions. So just to assure you that that will be considered by the Secretariat and the members as well. Lilongwe, and then we come to Cheo. Okay.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. I have 4 quick questions that will require a quick answer. So I request the Chair if I could engage the Major General so that I ask and then he responds immediately. And then I move to the next question. Major General, you said you could communicate in English and Chichewa, so I will choose to ask you in Chichewa. If you can respond in English, that's all right. And some of the questions I'll ask you in English as well. Major General Ishmael, ndimafuna ndimvetse nkhani ya ELT. Mukoza kuvomerezana nane nditanena kuti ELT imeneyi ndiyofanana ukhala ngati airbag ya galimoto. Yoti magalimoto ena amakhala ndi airbag, ena amakhala opanda airbag. Zikhoza kukhala ngati zofanana choncho? Funso langa loyamba ndiwene.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Chair. Sizingafanani.
Okay.
Sizingafanani in a sense that ELT will not affect the operation of the aircraft.
Pepani, banyi mwenye mujizewa. Kafuso labda mujizewa. Nde munati muyankula mafuso watu mujizungu ndi mujizewa. Nde mwena makupe mpani. Mutatamba sula nkani yo mujizewa.
Siwa wame Chair. ELT ndi airbag. Yeah, in the funso.
Okay, I wanted to explain properly so that the answer should be a quick one. What I'm trying to say here is, manena kuti emergency locator transmitter, si gwirizana ndi kuti ndege ikhoza kuuluka kapena iyayi. So in my thinking, inso ndimanena kuti airbag inso ya galimoto, siletsa kuti galimoto iyende kapena iyayi. Ukhoza oyenda ndi galimoto yopanda airbag, ukafika obwera konso, magalimoto enanso alibe airbag koma amayenda. Then ndimafuna kuti mwina poti tukupanga izi kwa Malawi kuti amve bwinobwino kuti then ndimafuna ndimfuse kunena kuti kodi zikhoza okhala ngati zofananirapo choncho kuti ikhoza kuyenda komano it's not necessary kuti ikhale ndi airbag monga ngati galimoto. Then ndifunso langa lina lotero.
Nathokoza kwambiri honorable. Kusiyana kwa airbag ndi ELT. ELT idzagwira ntchito pokhapokha ngati ndege yachita hard landing kapena yagwa. Koma singateteze munthu kuvulala kapena kumwalira. Pomwe airbag ikachita ikutetezani. ELT ingowauza enawo kuti kwagwa ndege uku. Sindikudziwa ngati ndayesetsa kuyankha funsolo.
Mwayesetsa zikomo kwambiri. Funso langa lachiwiri ndilaonena kuti mwapanga mu report yanu imene mwatipatsa mwapanga emphasize kwambiri on 3 crew members that were in the Donia. Manena kuti anauluka ndi 3 crew members. Panali funso lina wina atabwera witness udzatipatsira umboni kunena kuti ukhala ngati zimamvekamveka kuti ukhala ngati auti padalinso munthu wina mndegemu amene adakatseka chitseko cha ndege. Then mafuna ndimve poti inuyo mwagwira ntchito pa ndege nthawi yayitali. Kodi nzotheka kunena kuti pabwere munthu wina mu ndege kukhala kuti wakwera nawo ndege ija kapena wabwera nkudzatseka chitseko cha ndege nkumanyamuka zimachitika kapena zikhoza kutheka?
Nathokoza kwambiri honorable. Through you chair. Ndizosatheka. Zimene zimachitika kawiri pa 3 po pilot ndi pilot in command. Kawiri timamutchula pilot in command as pilot flying. Winayo ko pilot amakhala pilot non-flying PNF. Ndipo makhala timayikamo technician when we know that ndege isikabwerera lero ikagona konko. There must be somebody woti akapange prepare ndegeyo after flight and before the first flight. Amene uja amakhala mndege muja. Ntchito yake ndikuonesesa kuti ndege ija ma engines achita start. Ose amene akola moto tinene choncho. Nthawi zina mamona wina wake amayimba mapanga chonchi. Amene uja amakhala technician wakuti ali mu ndege muja akatha ma chocks zijatimayika kutsogolo kwa matayala a ndege. Iyeyo akaona kuti ndege ijayo yachita start amaliza starting procedures. Ankati aja amampasa sign ya chonchi. Sign iyi ndionena kuti takonzeka kuti tinyamuke. Ngati pena pake mwina ndege je kupanga utsi pena pake engine amatere. Ndikutere kuti adzimise ma engine something is wrong. So akapanga chonchi ankati aja nkumuza kuti achose matala kutsogolo kuja. Akachosa amapereka sign yoti choncho ndikutere. Kuti machoksa aja ndatani ndachosa. Si munthu wambayi. Zimenezo sazidziwa. Ntchito ya technician uja ndi imeneyo. Akachosa machoksi aja amadziwa pamene owayika pali special place ku cargo compartment kumene amayika iye uja. Munthu ina aliyense sangangobwera kuti achose machoksi. By the way, flight ya VP sipamakhala security pamene paja. Ndiye munthu akachoke uko kubwera uzachosa machoksi ndi kutseka chitseko. Amene ujayo anali late Wales ID. sanaone bwino si munthu wa mwamuna ayayi. It must have been kwa iwo maso awo a female ghost. Sorry to say that.
Zikomo kwambiri. Funso langa lotsatira ndilonena kuti mwatiuza mukupereka ripoti yanu kuti inuyo mwagwako pa ndege ya helicopter kawiri. Kaya nnamva bwino munanena kuti you have survived 2 crashes. Was that correct? Kuti nnamva bwino bwino?
I did not mean that I survived, but I witnessed 2 crashes of my helicopters. 1 fatal, the 2 fatal and 1 survivor.
Chabwino. Zikomo kwambiri kuti mwapanga clarify kuti munapangako witness kapena munaona ngozi ziwiri za ndege zimene zidachitika chifukwa cha bad weather. Munatero kuti chifukwa cha weather. Ndiyeno mukupitiriza kulongosola mnanena kuti mutalankhulana ndi akandula. Munawauza kunena kuti mukangolankhulana naso ndi air traffic controller wa Kumzuzu mwauze azibwerera. Kenako munabwerera meeting nkukakumananso ndi a General Phiri amene munali nawo meeting imo mukuwapanga brief nawonso anakuwuzani kunena zomwe zonse kuti aja azibwerera. Then mafuna ndimvetsetse kunena kuti ndi inuyo amene mudapereka order kunena kuti mukangolankhulana nawonso ali mu ndegewo mwauze azibwerera. Kapena order imene idachokera kwa General Phiri kuwuzani kuti ayi kauzeni amene akulukawo kuti abwerere chifukwa cha bad weather. Mafuna ndingomvetsesa pamenepo.
Zikomo kwambiri honorable. Ndinene kuti it was not an order to say mukalankhula nawo mwauze as an order kuti abwerere. Because the pilot in command is the one who makes decisions. Koma ineyo with my deputy kukambira nankhani. We already feared of the West. But what we said is, that is, if there is no contact up to now, maybe if there is contact at any point, Mzuzu Tower, auze. Because looking at the time, kuti, how long it will take to land if they insist in trying to land at Mzuzu in that bad weather. Nde abwana apite kuNkhatabe. If the weather continues deteriorating, are they going to take off from Mzuzu? Which means the VP would be stuck in Mzuzu. Sanga bwerere, because we know kuti Mzuzu dzuwa likamapita kumadzulo, the weather imachita it worsens. So we said after talking with him as 2 generals, we were saying, I think Ababa, the only way they should not attempt a landing, they should just fly back.
Zikomo kwambiri. Funso lomaliza ndilokhudzana ndi BFU mu inuyonso mudali nawo mu timu ngati ex official. Mafuna ndimve ngati mukudziwa kodi adawalipira a BFU ndani? Adalipira ndi Malawi government kapena boma la ku Germany lidalipira for ntchito yawo a BFU?
Zikomo kwambiri honorable. That much I cannot give an answer, because what I remember is the German ambassador, we were in the same meeting with the German ambassador, and fuel akamaenda and resources zichita amalipira on their card, because kulikonse mena mapita timapita limodzi. I was paying for my fuel, they were paying for their own fuel. Paying for my accommodation, they were paying for their accommodation.
That's all, Chair. Thank you.
So we recognized Ncheu Sonzi, and then it was coming this direction, right? So you can decide between the two of you who should go first. So Ncheu.
Thank you so much, Chair, for granting us the people of Ncheuzo's Mvai constituency to ask a question to General Robre Ishmael. Mine, I just wish to learn from you, General Robre. What are the respective responsibilities of Air Force Commander, Base Commander, and MDF headquarters in such operations? Just wanted to learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable, through your chair. The responsibilities, they start from the joint headquarters. Joint headquarters receives requests or orders from higher authorities, that is OPC, the VP's office, and any other office that may need services from the Air Force. So the commander would give an order to the Air Force headquarters, which is Air Force Commander's office. The Air Force commanders do not just take requests or orders from joint headquarters unless, in the first place, the commander asks the status of the aircraft. In fact, every week on Friday, the bases, the base commanders are required to submit aircraft status, let me just say equipment status, every Friday, so that the joint headquarters is aware of the status of aircrafts and equipment that the bases have, and that is to say, the status that the base commanders present to the joint, the Air Force commander. So the chain of command is from high above to joint headquarters, MDF headquarters, to Malawi Air Force headquarters, to the bases. Now the base commander has a very big responsibility. His responsibility is to make sure that the bases have serviceable equipment. They are the ones that know exactly the status of every aircraft and every equipment. And they report to the Air Force headquarters. They are the ones that normally have information of the status of the aircraft. Next inspections, they are the ones that have that information. Now, if, for example, a request comes to the Air Force commander will not answer that unless he contacts the base commander. Base commander cannot just answer that. He will confirm with the technical department. In the hands of the technical department. They are the ones that service the aircrafts. They are the ones that know the status of the aircraft. If, for example, an aircraft goes out for a flight and it comes back, during their post-flight or inspection after the flight, the technical department will know that this aircraft has come back with this discrepancy. Maybe an instrument was not working. It is the technical department that will inform the base commander to say, this aircraft has this problem. We need to sort out this problem. Give us, for example, depending on the type of work that they are going to do, 2-3 days to fix this thing. So that information is passed over to, a request is made to the base commander. Base commander will tell the Air Force commander of the status. The Air Force commander will inform the headquarters if it will take more than a day that this aircraft will not be serviceable until this day because we have this problem. I don't know whether I've answered your question, Honorable.
Well answered. Thank you.
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you so much, Chair. I think I'll just have a chat with the General, Brigadier General. Yeah, through you, Chair. I mean Major General. So I will be asking through you, and I will just requesting for permission to engage this. Okay. I wanted to start by learning something, or rather to confirm with the Major General, because there was a question, I think, is it in Katabe or Manza? Asked something about the witness who gave us a picture on the additional lady in Ninongwe. And he has answered well, but I wanted him to confirm that he is answering with reference to ideal situations. Otherwise, he would not necessarily know because he was not on the ground. Is that the case, Major General?
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Chair. It is true that I was not on the ground, but I'm answering from the practical point of view.
Exactly, Major General. I just wanted you to assure this committee and possibly Malawians that you're not a witness of fact, because you are not on the ground, despite knowing ideal situations that should, or standard practices that should happen. I just wanted that confirmation to affirm that you were not there.
Thank you.
Yes or no?
Yes or no? Why I'm saying this is, if we go back to the norm, that we are talking of somebody who penetrates the whole security at the airport. We are talking of Kia, not in the bush somewhere, but at Kia, where security is there too, and that late Wells was there. I mean, where was he when this lady was doing this type of job?
What I'm saying through you, Chair, is for the witness to confirm that you are using assumptions. You were not on the ground. Just yes or no. It's a simple answer, Major General.
Yeah, I was not on the ground. That is true.
Thank you. Would you also confirm that the donia, which got involved on the 10th, never had the integrated weather ladder? Would you confirm?
No, I wouldn't confirm that.
What's the standing on the weather ladder of that donia?
The weather radar was supposed to be working. And in fact, I checked with the inspector in Zomba, who confirmed that the weather radar was working.
Thank you. Meaning to say issues of weather assessment were done by the aircraft itself and informing the necessary analysis to the pilots?
Through you, Chair, can I request that you repeat the question, please?
Okay, in a basic sense, the weather ladder would be assessing the weather like clouds and any dangers during the flight. Is that so?
That is true.
Now, you are saying the weather ladder on this plane, one, it's installed, and two, it was working. So we would be relying on the weather ladder more than even information from the ground. So the assumption from what you're saying is that pilots were acquainted with information, weather information, because they are the working weather ladder. So weather would not be an issue. Is that true?
Yeah, it's important to note that for navigational equipment, you have the weather radar and then you have the GPS.
I'm talking of the weather radar for now.
Yeah, you do rely on the weather radar because it is the one that will give you the picture of the weather in that heading that you are taking.
Thank you. Chair, I wanted you to note that pilots had access to weather. They were assessing weather because they had an instrument which tells them on the dangers of the weather during flight. Thank you. Secondly, would you also confirm that the donia was equipped with the terrain avoidance system?
I wouldn't confirm that unless if I confirm with the engineer in Zomba.
Okay. Meaning you don't have full information of the donia?
not on the Donia.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. We may get back to that maybe when the base commander comes. Just to confirm to this committee, would you confirm that instruments, directional instruments, were all working in the aircraft?
Yes, I confirm they were all working because during our inspection with the BFU, we checked on all the instruments that are on board the aircraft.
And as you rightly said that you have had vast experience with rather flying to Kumzuzu. What were your reference instruments when you're getting to Kumzuzu as you're landing? Beacons or stuff like that?
You mean when I was flying not on the Donia but on other aircrafts?
On the Donia.
Chair, let me correct that because I have never said that I was flying on the Donia. I've never flown in the Donia as a crew member.
My apologies, then I got it wrong. Then I may also have to spare that, maybe when the base commander comes. Otherwise, I was trying to get to a point just to ascertain and to also express Wale on why, during the flight, there were those turns about 3 or 4 times. They also don't make sense to me. And that's why I was asking about these instruments, if they were all working. So as you are expressing your Wale on that you can't understand why the aircraft was flying, making those round turns, 360 a couple of times. Chair, I'm also worried and I can't understand what might have been happening during that time. It doesn't make sense at all. I submit.
We go to Mulanje North. But just to establish or to confirm one point on the terrain proximity function that has been mentioned by Zomba Tondwe. You mentioned that you provided information and cooperated with the BFU. And this is contained in the BFU report. If you go to conclusions, item 3.1.2, the aircraft was equipped to fly under instrument flight rules and also had a navigation system with a terrain proximity function. You were the engineer. You also assisted in providing information to BFU. Can you confirm that the aircraft had a terrain proximity function or not?
Yes, on the terrain proximity, there are a number of instruments that work to give you information on the terrain proximity. You have the radio altimeter that you set, for example. The surface altitude is about 300 feet. You select that at 300 feet and you are flying. As you approach that 300 feet, that will give you a signal. That will give you a signal that you are now at 300 feet. Anything above, below that, you're too close to the terrain. That is one. This same instrument is the one that will tell you that you are flying at low speed and low altitude, and that your landing gear is still in. So this is a mechanism that will help you not to barely land, to land without landing gear. So immediately you hear that signal, then you check 2 things. The radio altimeter either is too low, below 300 feet, or your landing gear is still in, and your speed and altitude are low. So you would extend your landing gear. As I said, we may go into deeper details when we go into the BFU, because why was the landing gear down on this particular day, on this particular aircraft? Landing gear was down, and the flap was on one position as if they were preparing to land, but in the mountains. So we need to play around with all these facts to come up with a bit of understanding So to answer your question, Chair, the terrain proximity, yes, it is there and it was working.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Chair. Just, I think 3 questions. Just for interest, was this plane insured?
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Chair. This plane was not insured. There was no insurance cover.
Okay. In the military, do you have independent body that can certify a plane similar to, for lack of better word, COF by an independent body? Apart from your own, your own engineers, certifying that this is fit to fly, do you have an independent body that can certify a plane as airworthy?
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Chair. No, we do not have, because we have qualified inspectors that are trained by the company itself for airworthiness.
Is that the standard elsewhere? Where you, for example, in my own case, I've got my own car, I use my own mechanics, and when I meet traffic officers and say, no, my mechanics have said it is fit to be on the road. Is it a standard procedure elsewhere where military planes are not certified by independent bodies?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable. In most militaries, the equipment all are certified by their own inspectors or agents. We do not employ or use other agents because we have our own criteria for certification of airworthiness.
Thank you. Finally, one of the issues we had an engagement with the general earlier on. He said before issuing an approval or authorization, one of the issues that that he considers, or a commander considers, is the weather constraints, a briefing on the weather. You want to chart it out, whether you can go, you consider, among other things, the weather. In the present scenario we're talking about, did you brief the general about the weather conditions before he gave the authority for the flight to be flown from Mzuzu to Lilongwe, and from Lilongwe to back to Mzuzu? Did you brief the general on the weather, prevailing weather conditions?
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Chair. I did not brief him because in Malawi, prevailing weather conditions are only given during brief before takeoff. Because before the pilots conduct the mission, they have to submit their flight plan and a briefing with the weather department at the airport. These are the ones that give details of the weather en route and at that particular time. So in Malawi, we don't have a forecast for aeronautics to know that in the next hour, weather will be like this. It is there and then that they receive, the crew, not communicated to the Air Force headquarters or wherever, no. Sometimes we even use our own phones to you check weather or whatever, to check what the weather will be like tomorrow. But we cannot rely on that. In Malawi, the weather stations or weather gardens that we have, they only give you up to 2 hours, 3 hours maximum. You can't go beyond that. Well, in other countries, you are able to tell the prevailing weather for so many hours, even up to tomorrow, even for the week, but not in Malawi. In fact, I believe, if you check on the BFU report, they received that weather briefing at Kia. At Kia, yes, before leaving from Kumzuzu. They were already at the airport. So we couldn't know that. Thank you.
Okay, why I asked that is because he was here and he said he got the briefing and he was told the weather was okay. The plane would be proceed on the mission. Where did he get that information? Because he was here to say, yes, I got the briefing and I was told the weather was okay. That's why I gave the authority. Where did he get that information?
I do not know. Maybe he was taking it from the inbound route or flight when they were flying from Blantyre going to Kumzuzu, or when they were flying from Kumzuzu to Kamuzu International Airport, maybe. But briefings are done to the crew at the airport by the airport weather personnel. And also, during their checklist when they are to depart, they are given the pressure, altitude, they are given temperature, they are given clouds, octas, and whatever, right there. But they are not given weather details for tomorrow or 3 hours after. Not in Malawi.
Yes, in short, no weather briefing was given to the general prior to him giving authority for the flight to go on a mission. That would be correct, isn't it? As far as you know.
As far as I know, depending on from where he got that information, I may not give any witness to that.
Thank you very much.
So just on the same point, General Valentino Peri said he was consulting with you widely and relied heavily on your advice as the commander of Air Force. Do you think you assisted General Valentino Peri in making the right decision to approve use of the military aircraft by the VP?
Yeah, what was involved in my participation in this is to give him the availability of the aircraft in terms of the technical aspect of the aircraft. Nothing about weather, nothing about anything else. But he gave that order that there is this requirement. And considering that the aircraft was already in Kumzuzu, and nothing was reported of any discrepancy or any problem on the aircraft, I couldn't tell him anything contrary to that.
Thank you. Zomba City South.
Thank you so much, Chair. I will start with the last question that I asked General Valentino Peri regarding time when the aircraft was approved by the Commander-in-Chief. There was a discrepancy to say what time was this approval given, And I think in his submissions, he says it might be some mistakes somewhere. I referred him to the MDF report. Now, what you have presented vindicates what I said earlier, that this discrepancy needs to be explained. So I'm happy, Chair, that the 1520, that is on page 2, as well as the 17 hours, that is on the same page, and what I said to the General, that the crew members were told at 1732 in Kumzuzu, upon arrival of the impending next assignment. I think I've been vindicated. So I will proceed and also ask the General, is it the Major General, regarding the Yemwe 600 aircraft. Until now, I was of the impression that these Yemwe 600 aircrafts are not flying, but you have just informed us that this one was used to carry people from Zomba Air Base to Lilongwe. Can you confirm that they used the Yemwe 600?
Yes, I do confirm, Honorable.
Thank you very much. Chairperson, I also wanted the Major General to compare Donia 228 and Yemwe 600 in terms of navigating bad weather.
Thank you, Honorable. Through you, Chair. The comparisons in terms of weather detection or whatever, these two aircrafts are very, very different. The Yemwe 600 is a very modern aircraft because even when you talk about the cockpit voice recorder, the data flight recorder, they have. The most recent aircraft, and it is all digital. It's not analog. All the instruments are digital. It's a very modern aircraft. So to add on to what you have asked, that this aircraft is the one that flew the search and rescue team from Chireka. It is true. Those two aircrafts have been flying, and this particular one, when it was flying from Chireka to Kamuzu International Airport, it was the same day, if not the previous day, it was flying from DRC, Congo. It's an aircraft that can fly long distances with modern technology, with all the technologies that, because that one was not manufactured as a military aircraft. That one was a commercial aircraft. Yemwe 600 is a commercial. Zambia Air Force is using the Yemwe 60, not 600. The only difference is that the Yemwe 600 is a very modern digital instruments and everything, while the Yemwe 60 is analog. That's the only difference. But whatever the engines and everything, they are the same aircraft. Maybe you will ask another question to say, why are they not flying? I will not preempt, but maybe that may come at another forum.
No, but I would want to ask, why was it not assigned to carry the VP to take him from Lilongwe to Kumzuzu, given that the circumstances were very tight? The Donia was meant to carry the people returning from Late Kasambara funeral. So we had to detain the aeroplane in Kumzuzu when we had an alternative aeroplane, modern aircraft available in Zomba that could have been used to carry the vice president. Also understanding that the Donia at this time was configured to be an air ambulance and was not a VIP aircraft, when we had a modern aircraft in the hangar that could have been used to ferry the former vice president. Why was it not used?
Thank you, Chair. That's a very good question. The MA600 is a very heavy aircraft, and it can only land on airstrips more than 3.5 kilometers long. So that's why we are keeping, in fact, it is not in Zomba, it is in Chireka. Because one, it cannot land in Zomba, it cannot land in Lilongwe Air Base, it can only land at Kia. Not even in Karonga, West Steel, Kumzuzu Airport.
Okay, which means you knew that Kumzuzu Airport was not licensed or was not fit for this MA600 to land. Is that right?
Yeah, Kumzuzu Airport is not long enough for that MA600 to land or take off.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. That was exactly my question, so thank you for asking for me. Chair, I have another concern. The people who are coming from Zomba, they are coming as a search and rescue team. I just feel there was no sense of urgency in the way the MDF commanded these people from Zomba. Why am I saying that? They arrived in Lilongwe at 5:45 on the 10th, and they slept in Lilongwe. And they left the next morning, arrived in Chikangawa at 9 a.m. Chair, I'm having an impression that the military was searching during day and maybe not during the night. I don't get the urgency. Our second citizen, we don't know where he is. His flight and him and 8 others. And the rescue team coming from Zomba, they fly on this modern equipment. They have that luxury. This modern equipment, they arrive in Lilongwe, they go and sleep somewhere in a hotel in Lilongwe, and in the morning, they arrive there at 9 a.m. We are told here by several witnesses that we're arriving there even at 6 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to search for our second citizen. The military shows up at 9 a.m. from Zomba, having slept in a hotel in Lilongwe. Now, they're sleeping in a hotel, their second citizen, they don't know where he is. Chair, I don't know if there was that sense of urgency in the military. So he was maybe in command. I thought maybe he should speak to this feeling that I have, that the MDF did not have any sense of urgency in searching for our second citizen. Maybe if he answers that, I have a final question.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Chair. As I explained about their flight or the need to fly from Zomba, from Chireka to Lilongwe, that was the only means of transport that we could find for these people to move from Zomba to Lilongwe, to join the search and rescue team at Chikangawa. We could have used another. In fact, let it be known that the search and rescue that was happening here was, let me say, in Chichewa, Tigwirabati. We have helicopters equipped for search and rescue equipment lying there. And we want people to travel all the way from Zomba to Chireka, from Chireka to Kia. We had a brief after because they arrived at Kia, we had to send that transport to pick them up, to come to the base, and then we had our briefing. I cannot confirm that they slept in a hotel. I cannot confirm that. But what is on the ground is that after the briefing, they had to take a rest and leave at 3 a.m. At 3 a.m. If some people were arriving at 9 o'clock, it depends where they were driving from. And the mission for them was to go and join people who were already in the search and rescue, people from Moyale barracks, and those who were already there in the forest. So the concern for, I don't see any luxury in the movement, because it was one thing that we couldn't do otherwise. And one thing that we need to point out is we are in a situation where we have lost our friends. We have lost our friends. And doing things is not like doing things normally. For example, in my case, I was totally broken down. Totally broken. It took me days to start feeling who I am. Those guys were my children. I raised them up, I trained them. We grew together. We used to call names by first names. It wasn't easy to do these things. It wasn't easy at all. So I don't see any luxury in their participation. That's the maximum we could have done. Otherwise, the same time we lost contact, immediately we were taking a helicopter for search and rescue. That's what we did when we lost those 2 aircrafts. Immediately, we started search and rescue. And within 20, 30 minutes, we were able to locate all these our friends. But this one was totally different because we were incapacitated.
No, thank you. I think you have responded. We might differ there, whether you see luxury or not. I see a lot of luxury. We can agree to differ there. The second citizen is missing. Chair.
Yes,
Chair, I'm rising on a point of order. I want you to guide us. Should we give our opinion or impression when asking questions to witnesses?
So if there's a question that members must answer to one another, we will do it after the session internally.
Chair, I'm raising a question on a point of order. Should we give our impression, what we are feeling, to the witness? Because I want you to guide me so that I should also start doing that.
Yeah. If you want to establish facts, because we are here to gather evidence.
Okay, so I can tell the witness, this is my opinion or this is my impression, yes. And then the witness should respond.
They can validate or dispute.
Thank you very much.
Because we want to gather facts. We may have a wrong opinion, but a wrong opinion must not prevail without giving an opportunity to the witness to validate that or to dispute it.
Okay, I'll take that line, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson, for that guidance. I'll proceed. Since you have refuted that you don't see any luxury in what I've said, or the travel of the rescue team from Zomba, did you see any luxury, or do you see any luxury in the configuration of the chairs in the Malawi 2 that carried the late Vice President? I'm asking this because the executive chairs that he was supposed to use were not there, and what I was told is that he sat on a normal chair. Do you see any luxury there?
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Chair. Let us have a clear picture that this was an ambulance flight. It was already in Mzuzu, in that ambulance configuration. And we have this request for the VP to travel to attend this urgent sermon. I don't know, it would have been very easy to say, no, let us go back to Zomba, put the luxury seats, put the table, and then the VP will not attend the burial, not at our level. But this was known to the headquarters that the aircraft is in an ambulance configuration. There's nothing we could have done to look for luxury seats in Mzuzu.
Thank you, Chair. So you remember I started with the issues of time, the alignment of time, and he said he got a call from the general then, Valentino Piri, about this second flight or assignment at 15:20. That was in the afternoon. So I'm asking myself, what stopped MDF or MAF from picking the chairs from Zomba and bringing them here in Lilongwe on the same day, knowing that the second citizen will be traveling the next day around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock? I want to get that response. We knew 15:20 when the general called you that the second citizen will be flying on that air ambulance. So what did we do to make sure that those chairs that were in Zomba were brought here on the same day, so that the next day our second citizen sits in comfort? I submit, Chair.
You want to take that?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable. I am trying to figure out, the aircraft is in Mzuzu. That's the only aircraft available. And then we want to get comfortable seats from Zomba. How? To take them to Lilongwe, to keep the VP waiting, to remove those seats, put the other seats for him to travel to Mzuzu. Here we are looking at the time frame. How much could we do with the time frame that we had? I believe it needed some courage and some energy to be able to do that, and the resources to take the seats from Zomba, find the right transport to take those seats to Zomba, to bring them to Lilongwe. Or you may say, why not the Yemwe 600? It's even worse, taking those seats from Zomba, taking them to Chireka, to fly from Chireka, to fly to Kia, and start changing seats when the Vice President is waiting. I don't know, I don't understand. But it all takes, I mean, I may concur with the Honorable that, I mean, we are looking at, to me, sorry to say this, at the issues that may not bring us to any closer to find out what we are looking for. Otherwise, we have information to analyze, we have details to look at so that we come to an understanding. How did we lose those lives? We are talking of comfortable seats or whatever. I think I have a problem, Chair.
No, Chairperson, I think comfortable seats, we still have to pursue it because we are talking about a second citizen. And so the same problem that we are having, I also have the same problem, to say if it was the first citizen, assuming it was the first citizen in question, we couldn't have found a transport from Zomba to bring the chairs here to make sure the first citizen is comfortable. So you might not answer that question, but I still don't understand why the issue of comfortability for a second citizen was not considered. I submit, Chair.
Okay, Lilongwe, and then we can wind up.
Chair, I want to ask the General just one question. General, I have an impression that you were working under intense pressure to turn the ambulance into a VIP transportation. I'm asking this because there is no documentation requesting this aircraft. It was an emergency kind of deployment that you had. And you had no opportunity to refuse, because you could have refused and say we don't have an aircraft. So is my impression correct that you were working under pressure or under political pressure? Thank you, Chair.
So, General, you may answer his opinion.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Chair. I may not be comfortable to say under political pressure because that is none of my assignments. But pressure, yes. Pressure, yes. Because we already have an aircraft in Kumzuzu, and there was an immediate requirement. Now, thinking about changing configuration and all that was something that we had to think about. Can we do ABCD? Can we do that? Can we? Otherwise, we have denied providing aircraft to heads of state. We have done that. One, for example, if it is a single engine. There was an incident in one of the heads of state in Palombe. The weather was very bad. We told them we will have to leave before this time. So it was campaign period, they were talking and whatever. The presidential aircraft had to leave. We told them we are leaving now because we are not allowed to fly the head of state at night. This is already last night, we cannot fly the head of state. What happened is we left, landed at Chileka. There was that small aircraft, the Equerel, that was positioned there with one of the late pilots. And the head of state, when he heard that that aircraft is gone, he says, now what do I do? I don't want to drive. What is this aircraft doing here? So he said, no, this one will be escorting you as you drive to Blantyre. So he says, no. Is this going to fly to Blantyre? I will fly in this one. But it's not allowed for a head of state to fly in a single engine aircraft. It's a fact. So we said, no. He insisted until we talked to the commander, said, the Bwana here, he says he still wants to fly in a single engine aircraft. So they talked. What happened last was, he said, me and the first lady, we fly, whether we die or whatever, but you take us there. So we gave instructions to the pilot to say, do whatever, you are flying the aircraft. If he comes in and should something happens, we are not answerable. So there are instances, several instances where we have said no to VIP using the aircraft. Even landed in Chikangawa some time back, bad weather, we landed, and they had to travel by road. Because we said, with this weather, we are not taking off. What do? You take the road. So they did. So we are not, the pressure, yes, of course, in this particular instance, the pressure was there. But now the aircraft is already in Kumzuzu. It was possible, the aircraft to fly to, but in that configuration, actually, I believe that even the protocols at Kia, when they saw that there were those type of seats, it was up to them to say, this is second citizen. He cannot fly in this. It is the protocol that are supposed to say that, but not us. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs protocol are the ones to say, I'm to funa carpet up. If not, then whatever, but not us. That's not our job. Our job is to provide what we have, the platform that we have at that particular time.
No, thank you very much, Cheno. I just take you to item number 9. You reported that on 11th June, an accident report was sent to the manufacturer, now General Atomic. Are you in a position to furnish us with that report?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I have that report that was sent to them. I don't know whether I have it in my bag or, but I can always furnish it with to the committee
Okay, I think Secretariat will follow up with you. My final one is, what is your impression on the conduct by the military to hire out military aircrafts to civilians and VVIP without their knowledge on the status of the aircraft that they are procuring? What is your impression?
Thank you, Chair. My impression is that when it comes to procurement of aircrafts, we have a problem. A problem in a sense that in most cases, the Air Force is not contacted or given a chance to give its opinion. Government, in most cases, procures aircrafts without the consent of the Air Force. I'll give a very simple example. It's the procurement of the MA 600. At the time that procurement was done, the military, we already had requested CASA 295 aircraft. This CASA is similar to the MA 600. It has all military capabilities and all the optionals to change it to VIP, to cargo, to military, to whatever. The contract was about to be signed. But at that very time, there came the Chinese. I don't know whether I should still be on camera. I request from you, Chair, if...
But I think my point was, is it fair to the customers or the VVIP or the civilians to use the aircraft without knowledge that this aircraft does not have ELT, does not have a black box, because it is being used for disasters. Several institutions are using it. It's being used for humanitarian aid. And these people are hiring without knowledge of the safety of that aircraft. I'm just asking, is it fair for the military to be doing this?
Thank you, Chair. The fairness comes in when we consider the configurations of the aircraft. Because as we say, in terms of airworthiness and serviceability of the aircrafts, they are military aircraft with serviceable and airworthy aircrafts. Whether the civilians know that the may not be not allowed, but they may not fly in those aircrafts, that I cannot tell, because it's not a requirement for flying for safety, unless if that need comes out. As we said, ELT is for when there is a crash. And for the flight recorder, it's for data flying data that it records. So I do not know, maybe that should be put on the media or whatever, to say these aircrafts are military, therefore civilians should not hire them. I don't know. That may come from the authorities, not at our level.
Sure. Or you hire at owner's risk and you disclose the features of the goods and services you are buying. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, we will go around in circles. General, I want to give you a chance to maybe say a few remarks and conclude our session. Do you have any remarks you would like to make?
Thank you, Chair. Mine is just to thank you, Chair, and thank the honorables, and especially thank the government for coming up with this idea to reinvestigate circumstances under which this accident happened. I hope and believe that through this ad hoc committee, the truth will come out. But for the truth to come out, it will need open mind and determination to understand what may have been happening during that flight. We may miss out, very easily miss out, if we focus on issues that may not bring us to an understanding. So I would request that we take this issue soberly and with that determination to come up with the truth. I am privileged. I've served the Air Force for some time. I have now retired. This accident will always leave a scar in my heart. Why? It is because I took this command as Air Force Commander. I flew with this crew on 27th May. And in June, we lose all of them, including the aircraft. It will always remain, or it will leave a scar in my mind. Although I'm in retirement now, of course I'm retired, but I've been requested to go and train the young generation that are there. I accepted that willingly with an idea that I may contribute something towards Malawi and towards the young generation that are coming, to be able to make decisive or decisions that will take this country to a position where we will be able to answer to any mission, more especially ambulance, search and rescue. These are vital to any nation. Transport or whatever is not an issue, but for this, ambulance and search and rescue are very vital to our survival as a nation. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, General. We all learn from mistakes, and they say the beginning of reform is acceptance, but not denial. So if we accept, our shortcomings, we will always have put measures for continuous improvement. So don't take it hard upon yourself. We wish you well. I'm glad that you're back in the system to contribute towards national security. Sure, as we said, this is not the last interaction we're going to have. We're looking forward to having another interaction when we start the actual flight phase. But you may take leave, General. You've been very calm. I must applaud you in your responses. We don't take it lightly. We wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you.
Mwayesayesa ntchito sikupezeka, mwana mnyumba kusowabe, chitaka pa bizinesi yanu chakusokonezanu, wosadandaula, kuli Dr. Maiye Kumbulumbudzi.
Muitano wa bizinesi, mwai wa ntchito, kukonza nsoma banja, kusula chibelekero.
Matenda okanika kuchirawo, matsoka osatha pa moyo wanuwo, lero pabanja makukuthothani, wosadandaula, tangoimbani foni pa 0894 352 832, 0894 352 832. Dr. Maiye, madotolo wa chinyengo musamale. Kodi munamvapo za Dr. Erube kwa Vumbwe?
Dokote Elube, Dokote Elube. Dokote Elube, Dokote Elube.
Kodi mukufuna mwitano wa business mtupatupa? Timabwezeresa banja likasokonekera kwa mphindi 40. Timatsirika munthu akaberedwa. Chuma, business ziziyenda bwino, bwerani kwa Dr. Erube kumene timathandiza zonsezi. Nkhani zachitaka zavuta, bwerani kwa Dr. Erube. Timathandizanso mwitano komanso kuvalirana anthu nkhope. Mukafuna kudziwa zambiri, imbani foni pa 089 94 26491 0899 426491, ndipo mukatero mudzathandizidwa. Dr. Erube, Dr. Erube, Dr. Erube, anachepa.
Welcome to MPUNGWE-PUNGWE YouTube channel. Subscribe for you to enjoy more of our videos anytime we upload.